Drive through central Illinois, and you'll pass dozens of towns like Hopedale. With a population hovering around 800, it is the kind of quiet map dot that most travelers cruise right through without a second thought. Take a look at this 1900s brick building on Main Street. It has a slightly faded, completely ordinary exterior that blends perfectly into the rural landscape. But buildings like this hold a quiet tension. There is often an incredible, forgotten history sitting quietly behind the closed doors of rural America's sleepiest streets. The most fascinating American time capsules aren't always housed in heavily funded national archives. They are frequently hiding right in plain sight. Open the door of that old general store, and the illusion of a sleepy town shatters. The warmly lit multi-story cavern inside is packed bumper to bumper with over 150 meticulously restored vintage snowmobiles. This is the Willis Snowmobile Museum. Russell Huck Willis and his three sons, Danny, Darren, and Donnie, curate this collection. There is no corporate backing here. The entire operation is driven by pure family obsession. The project started by accident in the 1980s when Huck's son bought a single broken sled that needed extensive work to get running. That one repair project snowballed into a decades-long historical rescue mission. By hunting down these machines and housing them under one roof, the Willis family is documenting a specific mechanical era that might otherwise exist only in old photographs. To grasp the true scale of their dedication, look at this chart visualizing the museum's inventory. The 150 sleds displayed on the floor represent only a fraction of a private reserve of 450 machines, spanning over 100 defunct historical brands. Huck Willis spent 50 years working as a mason. When he saw the decrepit, century-old general store headed for a tax auction and likely demolition, he bought it specifically to house these artifacts. The family restored the building with the same meticulous care they applied to the machines. They hand-selected local trees, milled them, and built a custom dehumidifier to dry the wood themselves, creating the glowing hardwood paneling that lines the walls today. Every square inch of the three-story structure is utilized. Step down into the lower level, and you find even more massive, unconventional historical machines tucked into the basement. The century-old general store stands as a painstakingly restored artifact itself, carefully rebuilt to protect the engineering history resting inside it. The earliest artifacts in the Willis collection tell a story of sheer necessity. The first motorized snow machines were built out of a desperate need to navigate the harsh, isolating winters of the Midwest and New England. Take the 1920s Virgil White Model T snowmobile kit. White designed these tracks and skis to attach directly to a Ford, helping rural doctors and mail carriers traverse deep snow when conventional roads became completely impassable. Before long, locals were building crude motorized toboggans. They fitted standard sleds with exposed engines, using raw, do-it-yourself engineering to solve the immediate problem of winter transportation. Because there was no consensus on what a snowmobile should look like, bizarre engineering oddities emerged. The museum houses rare early experiments, including dual-engine models with separate throttles, and strange track-only machines that lack front skis entirely. The human drive to conquer the freezing cold birthed a highly experimental, trial-and-error category of mechanical engineering. By the 1960s and 70s, the engineering stabilized, and the culture exploded. Snowmobiles transitioned rapidly from tools of cold-weather utility into high-speed recreational vehicles. In the 60s and 70s, families began using the snow as a recreational surface. Organized weekend trail rides turned rural fields and farm roads into a new network of social routes. Local snowmobile racing evolved into a community spectacle. Towns gathered to watch high-speed competitions across frozen lakes and snowy tracks, turning riders into local legends. The boom produced a massive wave of highly specific artifacts. The museum walls are lined with colorful fiberglass cowls, distinct racing logos, and endless varieties of specialized two-cycle motor oil. These colorful machines introduced a new sensory profile to the winter landscape. The vibrant hues of the cowls, the sound of racing engines, and the smell of two-cycle oil. Without active preservation, purely utilitarian machines fall victim to industrial attrition. Once they break down or become obsolete, they are routinely discarded, scrapped, and eventually forgotten. Over the decades, more than 300 snowmobile manufacturing companies existed globally. Today, the vast majority of those businesses are defunct, and their products have been completely erased from public memory. Walking back through the packed aisles of the Willis Museum, the rarity of the collection becomes clear. Finding physical evidence from over 100 of these forgotten brands, fully assembled in a single room, is exceptionally rare. It raises a critical question about physical history. If people like the Willis family do not step in to salvage these artifacts, what happens to the evidence of this distinct weekend warrior culture? Individual obsessive collectors are frequently the only barrier preventing an entire era of mechanical ingenuity from rusting away in collapsing rural barns. Pull back from the machines, and you see the warmly lit museum resting quietly against the cold backdrop of Hopedale. Managing an inventory of this scale requires constant physical labor. From the masonry on the building to the restoration of each engine, the workload is sustained entirely by the family. Specialized records of American life often survive because of private collections. In towns like Hopedale, the Willis family has taken on the responsibility of keeping this specific mechanical history from disappearing. Extraordinary time capsules are waiting patiently everywhere, resting behind completely ordinary brick facades for anyone curious enough to open the door.